Welcome, friends. You're about to see a short slideshow and presentation on the beginning history of the Pasatiempo Club Houses with a focus on the Hollins House. My name is Emily Chorba, and historian for Pasatiempo Golf Course, I'll be your presenter. The slides you're going to see are from a collaboration with the history fans of Pasatiempo Golf Course and the Pasatiempo Homeowner History Club. This presentation builds on the one we did in April on the creation of Pasatiempo. If you didn't see that one, you will still be able to follow along. Many of the photos you're going to see are quite detailed and spectacular. If you're able to view this presentation on a large monitor or cast it to your big screen TV via a technical device, you'll enjoy the pictures even more. Let's begin. So here we see an aerial painting of Santa Cruz in 1870. Since we didn't have aerial photography back then, this is the best we could do. And you can see the circle that just floated in is circled around Pasatiempo, where Pasatiempo was built. That is the Rancho Carbonero estate where Marion Hollins was famously riding her horse and where she discovered the property and the gorgeous view. To get your bearings, you can see Highway 17 and Ocean Street on the right. And then on the left side is Graham Hill Road. So like many golf courses, it takes a village to create them, and we had quite a few designers. So you probably already know about our visionary and founder, Marion Hollins, who she was often referred to as Miss Hollins, and our famous golf course architect was Alistair Mackenzie. Both of these folks are quite famous, and both have been our inductees to the World Golf Hall of Fame. Now, the other important, but not as renowned as Marion and Alistair, are the Olmsted brothers and Thomas Church. The Olmsted brothers are the sons of Mr. Olmsted, who did Central Park and a few other notables. And Thomas Church also did the landscaping for many of the homes and properties around the Pasatiempo estates. The architect of the homes was William Worcester. He was a relative unknown before he started working for Miss Hollins. And the one who did the clubhouses is Clarence Tantow. And we do not have a photo of him. Clarence Tantow and William Worcester were friends. They were contemporaries, of course, and I tried to find pictures of him, maybe in a group photo with William Worcester, but couldn't. So that's just, we'll use the silhouette here for Clarence Tantow. There were quite a few Pasatiempo clubhouses as the course was getting developed. The first was the Billings home, and that is where the Pasatiempo Inn is today. Then there was the Caddy home. Then there was the first clubhouse. Hollins House was the second clubhouse. And now we have the Mackenzie Bar and Grill. So what Pasatiempo looks like today, all these clubhouses, is you can see the Mackenzie Bar and Grill is here. The Hollins House is here, obscured by all the trees and shrubbery. The very first clubhouse is in this area, again, blocked by all the trees, and the Caddy house is up here. This is the first fairway, and this is the ninth fairway with the ninth green. Now, the drone pictures that you're going to see are taken from typically the maximum elevation is 400 feet. So you will see now some aerial pictures. This is an aerial picture from 1937, so it's a little bit higher than 400 feet, and you can see there are no trees, no shrubbery, and the first group of circles, these yellow circles, this is the very first original clubhouse. This was the Caddy House up here on Clubhouse Hill. This is the Hollins House. So original clubhouse, the Caddy home, Hollins House, and the Mackenzie Bar and Grill. However, this Mackenzie Bar and Grill was actually a guest house for one of the financial backers of Pasatiempo, Cecil Baker, or Cecil F. Baker, I can't remember. And his home, you can see, was built here on the 17th green, right here. But this was his home where all his friends would come and stay when they came to visit. Now, the other circles, these blue circles, these are the guest houses that were built so that guests could come and play and stay. And then the orange one here is the starter shack, perfectly situated right between the first tee and the ninth green. So this is Clubhouse Hill in 1937. Of course, the course was open in 1929, so there are some earlier buildings that were part of the clubhouse suite, if you will. Now, the Billings House was built in 1890, approximately, and when Marion was just getting her plans together for the golf course, she wanted to remodel the former Billings home into a nice clubhouse for a cost of $15,000. But at that time, it never did become the clubhouse. I guess there were things wrong with the structure, so they couldn't move forward. But here's a picture, one of the few pictures of, this is Marion Hollins right here, and Alistair Mackenzie is looking down at her, and this is in the Billings home. The Billings home, again, if I didn't say it earlier, that is where the Pasatiempo Inn is now located. The Caddy House at 28 Clubhouse Road was completed in 1930 and served as a temporary clubhouse until 34 Clubhouse Road was completed. And as you can see from the floor plan, it has a woman's area, a common room, the men's area, and a shop. And this slide shows photos of the outside. Again, the woman's room is right here, and nice patio. And here's a view facing northwest so that you can see what they were looking at when they were sitting on that great veranda. Also completed in 1930 was the first formal clubhouse, and you can see it was designed by Clarence Tantow. He was the architect. And here, this is the front. The photo on the left is the front of the house, and the photo on the right is the backyard where all the fun happened. And these were guest rooms up top, and then there was kitchen, sort of a lounge living room, and there was a pool table or that people could play. And there's Marion, and she always had her dog Carlos with her. So let's talk about Clarence Tantow, since he was the architect of this and the Hollins House. He lived from 1884 to 1943. He was a San Francisco Bay Area architect for nearly 30 years, and his practice was primarily residential, and it included homes in Oakland, Berkeley, Piedmont, Santa Cruz, and Monterey Peninsula. He became renowned for his large Spanish colonial revival style country houses, and that were built on 17 Mile Drive in Pebble Beach. And Clint Eastwood, his 6,900 square foot hacienda style home in Pebble Beach is one of them. It's called Hacienda Esta Madre. He's since sold it, but thought you might appreciate seeing a picture of what it looks like, you know, slightly renovated. He still left the same French door touches here that were typical of Tantow's homes, but you can see the nice Spanish style roof and the famous red tile. Tantau's path to Pasatiempo is as follows. In 1925, he designed the Monterey Peninsula Country Club in Pebble Beach. It's been renovated since, but still the basic design is very Spanish Revival. In 1929, Miss Hollins commissioned Tantau to design the original clubhouse at 34 Clubhouse Drive, which is now a private residence. And of course, because she was the Pebble Beach athletic director for the Del Monte Corporation, she was very familiar with Tantau and his work. So in 1930, after he finished designing the original clubhouse, she commissioned him to design the second clubhouse, which is now called the Hollins House at 20 Clubhouse Drive. However, it did take a long time to get the second clubhouse built, but it finally did happen in March of 1936. She announced plans to build the elaborate new clubhouse, again with Clarence Tantau as the architect. Here is a 1931 sketch of the proposed clubhouse, Hollins House, and you can see it looks pretty much the way it does today, with the one-story, large patio back, facing the Monterey Bay. It was May 5th, 1936, that a crew of 8 men began laying the foundation, and they had estimated the cost to be $20,000 to $25,000 for the Spanish-style one-story building. However, it was finally completed, so it was May 5th, 1936. Now, September 9th, here is a picture, 1936. The clubhouse is built, and now they are doing some landscaping around the property. And unfortunately, we do not have any pictures in between of the Hollins House as it is being built. So we just have this. And there's one more photo that was taken a few days later, 3 days later, on Saturday, September 12th. And you can see the land has been leveled and the trucks and tractors are gone. And that means it was ready for opening night. So this is an article from the Santa Cruz Evening News, September 12, 1936. And it mentions that they're having a gala dinner dance to mark the formal opening of the $35,000 structure. So there was a little bit of a scope creep and the price went up, but they did get their building. Now, I know the article is too small to read. So here are the 6 main points that article talked about. Was the cost, and that there were over 200 members of friends and notables that were going to be present for the dinner dance to mark the official dedication. It talked about the clubhouse and having a spacious lounge fully furnished in the latest fashion. It had a tap room with the last word in comfort and beauty, locker room, showers, etc., kitchen with staff. And it talks about the furnishing here bought by F.C. Baker's wife. And again, she was part owner of Pasatiempo Estates. It also then talks about the elaborate landscaping done under the direction of Thomas D. Church. And Darrell Palmer was the contract in charge of doing the building. And then it talks about Michael Steenhout as the waiter who was going to take over the whole catering operations. And then on one of the guests, actress Claudette Colbert was there. She was a friend of Marion Hollins, staying as a guest, filming The Maid of Salem in Santa Cruz. So we should all go and try and find that movie and see if we can recognize our town. Here is the view from Clubhouse Hill in 1929. So this is before the Hollins House was completed, way before, but this is why you can see this is the vision and vista that they decided upon to have where it'd be a good place for the clubhouse. I don't know who that is sitting in the picture, but it looks like it's a nice day. Now here's what the view looks like today of Clubhouse Hill. And you can see there's a lot more trees. And of course it's green because it's color. The colors are beautiful. Lovely clear day. So this aerial view is from 1937, September 5th, before the pool opened. And of course it was right after they had to christen it, or with a Saturday night dinner and dance at the clubhouse. So you can see here's Hollins House here. The pool is here. It's much unchanged. The only thing is there's a big fence around it now, and of course there's a parking lot. But you can see no trees around it. You can also see here's the 18th green and sand traps. Let me go back. This is, I think that building is, that's one of the guest houses. I don't believe it's the first clubhouse, no, one of the guest houses. And of course you can see here, this is the starter area, starter shack. Now this drone view from 2020 is the same view, and you can see the Hollins House, the pool, the 18th green, and again, it's very filled in with lots of trees and shrubbery. So back to 1937, a new caddy shack and pro shop was to be built by the first tee, and that is, of course, where that guest home, where the Mackenzie is now, they were going to add, you know, a pro shop and caddy shack next to that guest house. And the existing caddy shack was to be turned into a guest house. So that again is right around here, the caddy shack. So now our focus turns to the Hollins House. This is the front entrance and patio. Today we're looking west, northwest in the afternoon. And here is the front entrance and patio as we look east, southeast. In 1936, this is again looking northwest at the 17th fairway from the front patio. And right next to it, floating in, is the same view today. And again, you can see there's different trees in place. Not as many pines and, you know, a little bit more shrubbery. Next, as we walk into the Hollins House, you'll walk into this view, the main dining room, and you can see the typical Tantau French doors open. And today, this is the same vantage point, and you can see the windows, the door treatments. It stayed the same. We've been able to preserve them. They've lasted all these years. Just the colors are a little different. The view is still fantastic. And in our picture today, we have our chef, JP Lechtenberg, and his wife, Annie, are posing for us. So here's the main dining room facing southeast. And note the chandelier and the windows, because when I show you this picture of what it is today, again, the windows are the same as is the chandelier. And possibly the floor too. This is the main dining room facing northwest. And again, we have the chandeliers and the windows. And today, the same chandelier, just different wall treatment and ceilings. But the windows and many things are the same and have held up beautifully. The next room in the Hollins House is the Marion Hollins room. And this is the hallway down to that room. You can see again the French doors, typical of Tantau's design, and the Spanish tile that goes down to the hallway. And today, that same tile is there, as are the doors and fireplace. The only thing is we've added a doorway to separate the room, the Marion Hollins room, for private events and functions. So going to the Marion Hollins room, you can see in 1937 it was used as a bar. There's an actual bar there, and you can see here's where the bottles and glasses were. And then it had this nice bay window, rounded bay window with seating and tables. The fireplace is still there, or was there and still is. And here's what the room looks like today. We've taken out the bar, but you can see we've got the same bookshelves, and we actually have the shelves. They are removable, so we can add them back if we need to. And the fireplace is, of course, still there, and the wood floor. And the bay window is still there with the seating. And again, on the left and right are these French doors, typical of Tantau's style. And it's a great view of the Monterey Bay. For those people who like to go to the back patio, it was a very sunny place. And this is what it looked like back in 1937. And it's got this, you can see it's got the similar, this nice posting. And when we go look at it today, it's got that same treatment, same thing. It's lasted all these years. Same, red brick patio pathway. So everything's been held up very nicely. Now, the Hollins House operations in 1937 are a little bit different than they are today. In 1937, you could come and stay and get a single, double, or cottage for $24 a week, up to $36, or the cottage was $90 and included maid service. Also, then the meals, breakfast started at 35 cents, lunch started at 85. If the golfers ate lunch in the bar, it was 50 cents, and dinner started at 85 cents. So this is how they had nice guest facilities back then. People didn't live here year round. Because again, they hadn't built out all the home sites, because this was during the Depression. So property wasn't, being bought left and right. Now, the Hollins House operations in 2020 are a little different right now because we are going through the COVID-19 pandemic. The outdoor dining is from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. There is no indoor dining, and masks are required when you're not seated at your table. And there is takeout and outdoor dining menus online. And we have you can go to the website, pasatiempo.com. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, where we have 3 accounts, either for the golf course, the Hollins House, or the Mackenzie Bar and Grill. And then we have a Twitter handle at Pasatiempo Golf. And our chef is JP Lechtenberg. So yes, quite a difference between now and then, 90 years. So here's another aerial view from 1950, and it is the front of the Hollins House. And you can see by now that the Mackenzie area has been built up. This is the pro shop, and this is the guest house that was FCC Baker's, is now just a clubhouse, another clubhouse. Because there's a little bit more to the story of the Hollins House, because it was a private residence. It became a private residence in 1940. But that's a whole nother presentation, or else a very short one. Anyway, you can see please notice the 18th green here and the sand traps, the shape of the sand traps. And of course, notice the 1st and 9th fairways where there's very few trees, just an inkling, a starting of them. Because today, here is the same view via a drone, and notice the sand traps have quite a bit more shape to them, and the green has changed a little bit. I've switched back, you can see the green shapes changed a little bit, not too much. And then you can see also lots of tree growth around both the Hollins House and the course, the fairways. This next aerial view is of the back of the Hollins House. You can see here's the back patio, the red brick, and we've got tables set up out here. And again, the trees don't look quite as overwhelming at this view. Looks like it's a pretty nice view from the Hollins House. Here's the practice green here and the first tees. Pool is back here. I just have a few more photos. So here is a 1950 aerial view of the front 9. It includes 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So of course, here's the first fairway. Here's the second with the second green. And then the third. And this is called Kite Hill here. This house has been here ever since the beginning. Here is the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. This is the Mackenzie room up here, and here is the Hollins House up here. And the original clubhouse, the first clubhouse, is somewhere around here. And this is the Pasatiempo Inn, and this is where the Billings house, the first house that was to be considered as the clubhouse, was. This is where it stood. And when the Olmsted brothers first drew up the plans, this is where the clubhouses were going to be, but in a year's time that all changed. And here is a 2020 drone view of that same aerial we just saw with 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Again, you can see all the trees. This is actually the driving range, the first fairway and the 9th, and the second hole, 3rd. So again, it's quite grown up when you compare it to this photo. You can see the trees are starting. And there they are now. Now this is a 2020 drone view of the 18th tee, which is right here. 18th tee looking out to the Monterey Bay. You can see there's the 18th green sand traps and the first 9th fairway. It's a little bit of a hazy day, so we're not seeing Monterey. But in this picture, it's a little bit further back. It's from 2011, and it's looking west to Monterey Bay, and holes 13 and 14 are in the foreground. So here's 13, and here's 14. And then it was over here on the right-hand side where the steeplechase oval was built, where they held those back in 1929 through about 37 or 8 when Marion Hollins was in charge. So yes, back in 1928-9, this is Kite Hill, and this was not built. Kite Hill is here and Bird Hill is down here. But Kite Hill was not built up, and they did barrel racing where these homes are now. But they did that when the course was first founded. I'd like to thank our photographers. Julian P. Graham was the Del Monte Corporation's official photographer, and he knew Marion Hollins, and he photographed all the events, the opening, the course opening, and then some, all the black and white photos that you see. And then Portia Shao, who is a resident at Pasatiempo and professional photographer, she took pictures of the Hollins House today. And the drone photos are by her husband, Kevin Caruso. And then the aerial photos from 2011 were, and 1937, the 1937 aerials were from Fairchild, and the 2011 photos were from the Pasatiempo maintenance files, which was done by one of our superintendents. So that is our presentation and slideshow about some of the clubhouses, the early history of the clubhouses of Pasatiempo, and in particular the Hollins House. So I hope you enjoyed this, and you can look forward to others coming to you on this same channel.